All right, test audio. Looks like we're good. Good morning, traders. We are live. It is Thursday, September 25th, and we are about 1.5 minutes to 9:30 open. We'll see what happens here. This is overnight was super interesting. We had a massive expansion to the downside. I can't really showcase it here on this chart, so let's move over. Let me clean up some stuff over here. So here on the 15-minute chart, here was London high, and we've expanded almost 1,000 ticks down into some inefficiencies here. A buy side imbalance on the daily. We have this gap here on the 4-hour. We have this gap here on the 1-hour. The 1-hour candle swept the 8 a.m. low. We do have consecutive candle SMT forming on the 1-hour. Confirmed on the 15-minute. So I went in with a long pre 9:30 on a paper account. I spent the entire day yesterday looking at price action in September, and my mind was blown. I saw some things that I didn't expect to see, and so I wanted to stay out of my funded account today as I'm taking in all the info that I caught yesterday in testing, and I'd be happy to share some of it with you all here. And I was sharing the findings in my Discord. Basically, I saw that September price action moved very differently for me and my model as a reversal trader, as an ICT trader, and was just mind blown once I saw that. So let's see here. I'm leaning bias. There's the possibility that this is the internal stop hunt, and this becomes a breaker for more sell side delivery, which looks like that's the case. So this paper trade was a loser. Don't know why the stop loss isn't working, but that's the nice thing about paper accounts. Isn't even working. So here I was trying to get into the trade, got a bad market order, collapsed it, got in again with the right number of contracts, and then added 5 right in here. So I'm just gonna hide those marks so they're not in the way. Oh, that's wild. Why is it? So now it just did it? Huh. Super wild. Because I'm not, after last night's huge expansion, I'm not expecting much from today. I'm expecting poorer price action than not. I feel like everything's being a little weird. Like this, indicators are just being really slow. Wonder what's going on here. Let's see if the browser catches up or not. Okay, so what do we got here on the 1-hour? Tons of distribution. So here we tapped into that 1-hour gap. Still have SMT forming, not confirmed. Taking the previous day low. 15-minute rejection right there. Yo, what's going on, Chris Postal, my brother? What an expansion overnight, man. That's just wild. And here was what I was kind of even seeing in all of my testing yesterday is if I looked at the midnight open, I looked at the trend, and saw the reversal in London, expecting further expansion down to the downside. But then look at that. That is just wild how far it expanded. That's like the NQ freight train mode. And so here's a continuation model. I wouldn't have taken that as a continuation because of the levels right below it. Oh, I'm not even on the right screen, but hey, that's okay. Huge expansion. But yeah, the London reversal, one side, two side continuation. And look at this distribution, man. One of the things I've been looking at from Tenishu is the standard deviations of the breaker and how price really likes them. So here's a 15-minute breaker, and then price comes up into the 4.5 zone. Here's another 15-minute breaker, 4.5 zone. So similar to what you were saying, when you're on sides, the distribution phase really likes anywhere from the 2.5 to the 4.5. Like TP1 should be 2, 2.5. TP2 should be 4.5 if you were swinging these. But look at that. You know, here's another 15-minute breaker, especially when they tie to midnight open. Just wild. Random. I know, right? Random. Everything's 4.5 standard deviations or 2.5 standard deviations. But I'm on paper today. I'm not trading funded. My mind's a little blown from everything I saw yesterday, so I feel a little rocked at the moment, and I'm just kind of reading price and playing with demo today. I need to do some further evaluation, but like here was my model. I just wouldn't have trusted it. Inversion, breaker, retest. I'm on the wrong screen again. Inversion, breaker, retest. But I expected it to stall out somewhere in here. Didn't want shit to do with that. So where are we going? So the time frames aren't aligned to go higher here. Yeah, totally. And so like, as I'm thinking about that, and I haven't gotten to go through all of TT's videos, so in part they're probably questions that will get answered the more I go through it, you know? But like in a way, with that mindset, you're going to be taking so few trades. Like looking at this older price action, so here we have a daily change in state of delivery. So you're not going to long this low. You're not, right? You're not going to long anything in here until maybe here on the daily. is another change in state of delivery right there, right? So like you would be on your hands for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days without taking a trade, because there's no, because you have a bearish change in state of delivery right here. You know, so there you can't assume anything's changed until stop hunt, change in state of delivery right there. So here it would actually be longer. You wouldn't have a trade in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 12 days. So that's where I'm really confused. You go day by day, and he explains that in his daily bias video. Gotcha. Well, then I'll get to see more when I watch that. I still have it up in a tab right here, so I'll get to that one. So if you're going off of the previous day, and I'm even got nothing to do here, so I'm just curious to sit here and think about, if you go off the previous day, what you mean by that. I'll have to see. I'm not sure. So what do we have? All right, we have this low. We have all this liquidity too, so coming back to September, early September. Here's equilibrium of this range. This volume imbalance that's been untouched. It's all about the previous day closes, and it respects the consequent encroachment of the upper quadrant. Okay, yeah, that's what Hydra was teaching. Now that you say that, I remember that too being part of it, where you could get a bearish looking candle, but depending on how it wicked and closed, it could be a bullish candle. Maybe even like this candle right here, where it wicked down below. Although I guess this is the candle before it. I was looking at this candle right there. I know what you're saying, Chris, and I'll not take your time and brain cells. I'll watch the video today. But here we go. Look at that distribution. So, how far can this go? Yeah, I'll definitely give it a watch. That stuff's super useful. I studied it for a while too, paying attention to the 4-hour, like the 2 a.m. 6 candle, the 10 a.m., and how that either took liquidity or distributed. It's one of the things I was looking at for studying for quite a while, but I didn't know it as in detail as you do. Oh, FOMC Wednesday, right there. Yep. Yep, right there. Previous week's low. Right there. That's Tuesday. Sorry, wrong week. Wednesday, September 17th. Yeah. So FOMC, previous week's low, volume imbalance, equilibrium. On the wrong chart again. Right there. FOMC, volume imbalance, equilibrium. And then put that on the 1 hour wild. I mean, even this 1 hour candle, look at that, 700 ticks. It's just moving. And the 9 a.m. candle, what is it, 9:45? Gonna note this here. This is interesting. How do I want to say? Not time frame aligned. So previous week's equilibrium. Beautiful looking setup. Let's see here. Make notes of that to study today. Yo, good morning, brother. Zaxos, is that how you say it? Zaxos? How you doing, man? You take any positions today? All right. So slam through this busy. Where's it going? This is quite the higher time frame day. And even I guess I can I'll look at it here. So here on the daily, but also here. This whole range. Zakos, gotcha. Well, right on, brother. Glad to have you here. What was I doing right over here previous? There we go. Keep that on the 4-hour chart. And what's interesting is go over here at 9:30. This supports everything I was seeing yesterday, in that um, the likelihood of 9:30, especially this last month in September, being a continuation of the London trend was like 70+%. So that further supports that. 10 a.m. Although here was an inversion, I didn't take it obviously. No close above, so that would be a breaker. But I wouldn't step in front of this freight train. I also don't have all the criteria met. Am I looking for longs today? No, I'm not. I am sidelined at the moment. My mind got blown yesterday. I was looking at some data from September and August about how the market's playing, because I was super curious. Like, and I got back to trading like mid-September after taking 3 weeks off, 2.5, something like that, and I cannot get into the groove of it at all. And so I did a bunch of studying yesterday, and I found some super interesting things about how September is moving quite differently for me and my model. And so I'm sidelined until probably another day or so. I need to take in all the information and what I'm going to do with it. So that's me. I don't know about you. What are you looking for, man? Long, short, sidelined? For me, the area of interest was this 4-hour fair value gap for any longs. So, do we have any SMT? I don't know. I'm not. The indicator's not showing any SMT down in here. 632 for you? Some equal highs probably. Yeah, 632, some equal highs. We can mark that on the chart. Gotta love those equal highs. Also have some equal highs right there. Relative. Yeah, I'd be curious. So like, that's like a 30-second breaker right there, 15-second breaker. What was I doing? I was looking for some SMT. That's what I was doing. Maybe. Maybe there is no SMT. Maybe that's why the indicator isn't showing any. The indicator's sweet, but I like to double check it. Sometimes it doesn't get them all. I feel like further sell side delivery. there anything in here it wanted? You know, it tapped into this order block here. And here, down in here, tapping into the 4.5 standard deviation zone right there from this breaker. Way past it from this breaker. And gosh, the other thing too, when it expands like this, usually 10 a.m. or often enough 10 a.m. just chops. So here this inversion's getting inverted. Yeah, the 951 swing high. Right there. I feel like something's missing. Look at the gold Bach ranges. On the 729, where are we at? It's thinking. Slow to think. So equilibrium on that. Previous week's equilibrium. Previous day low. Man. So zooming out. There we go. There's the gold Bach high. Gold Bach low of the 729. $243. So just losing levels on that. All right, 2 minutes left on the 1 hour candle and the 4 hour candle. Curious to see what they do here. I'm anticipating the next candle to trade up and then trade down. That's my assumption. Just how we pulled so hard through this fair value gap. And not that it couldn't just wick and blast off too. That's totally possible. All right, 20 seconds till the new 1 hour candle. I see a continuation model for me here on the 1 minute. This breaker failing, this inverting. Ideally, I would have taken this, but I want to see a little bit more from the 1 hour. Pop up right there. I think if we get a close below, I'd be interested in something. Could also just chop after that distribution. Here we got a 5-minute gap. Kind of looking a little rangy to me. We shall see. Tailless candle so far on this 1 minute candle. So here it inverted this inversion, or inverted this gap probably in the next 10 seconds. Okay, that's an inversion. Let's check out ES and NQ on this time frame too. So no SMT locally here. Correlated at the moment. So the daily took this swing low, or this wick right there. That's the swing, but took that. I'm totally mixed right here. I could see playing it either way. I wouldn't long down in here quite yet. What is today? Thursday? Yeah, today's Thursday. September 17th tail is the 0.75% is getting respected. Oh yeah, the upper quadrant of that daily wick. Yep. You're right on that. Right there. Clean this up a little bit. My model is there's the early entry, which is basically the inversion for me right there, and then the second entry level is a breaker. That's like a 30-second breaker to me. So I could have done either of those with liquidity sweep, prefer session, previous day, or 1 hour, 4 hour liquidity sweep. So some kind of significant liquidity sweep. And then SMT as well. But this is, I've been noticing this model in this September price action has been far and few between. I'll pull it up here real quick. At least for me, I don't know about you, but I looked at like my model appearing was 1, 2, 6 days in September is all. And whereas normally it is like 70 plus 75% of the days, I'll get it when I expect it. So it's been interesting for me in this model. What about you? What's your model? And also I take this on I typically do a 1 minute is what I'm looking for. But what about you? What's your model, brother? And now for me, while you're typing or whatnot, I would have been stopped out on this. Like if I would have gotten long on this breaker probably, or this inversion, I would typically not keep, I don't do a stop at the swing. So for me, I would have done something probably like that, and I would have gotten stopped out. Yep, opening range gap. Yep, 9:30 to 10. You plan a model based off of that? Um, oh, the midnight opening gap. Yep. So here on this chart, or maybe I don't. I know the new day opening gap actually So that's the one I was thinking about, the new day opening gap. Midnight opening gap, that's actually new to me. I'll have to look that one up. So here. Oh, gotcha. Forget the word gap, just the midnight opening range. What session do you trade? Gotcha. Is the midnight opening range, is that like a target for you? You use it like an entry. Gotcha. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I don't know that one. So here on the 5 minute, we got a minute and 50 seconds until this 15-minute candle rolls over. So a 5 minute confirmed an inversion. Price is moving today. That's not something I was expecting after this overnight move. Well, yeah, I mean, that makes total sense. I've had a couple of my mentors talk about that, and you're referencing, the midnight opening range, and what they were teaching me is that the algorithm uses the Asia range, which includes the midnight, open, is a reference point, is what they were telling me. So it makes sense what you're saying too. Um, they were really big into using like the standard deviations of the Asia range as algorithmic targets, which curious even, I don't have standard deviations on right now for this, but wow, look at that. So price delivered way past 4 standard deviations of the Asia range. But this is some nice delivery. I'm surprised. So target one acquired, beautiful. Look at that. No tail on that 5 minute. Same thing on that 15 minute. Flipped 9:30 open. What's the 1 hour look like? Rebalancing here into this inefficiency. So right there, 650. And the previous day low, so somewhere in here maybe for a final retracement target. $651 is what you're saying? Yeah, let's see where that lines up with 650. Oh, yeah, you're pretty much saying the same thing. Consequent encroachment of that 1 hour gap. Right there, 651. Back to the chart here. Previous week equilibrium is right here, so could also consolidate. I wonder what people on Twitter are doing. Oh, looks like Doji took the inversion. Don't know what I think about that guy. I can't tell if he's a furu or not. I'm not seeing many screenshots. Not one. Quiet day on Twitter. All right, so checking out ES and YM here. No SMT. 1 hour. I don't think there's any on the 4 hour. We'll see how much of this gap we rebalance. This Sibby. All right, so now, was that a 15-minute change in state? Looks like it could be. That one's taken. Flipped that gap. that 1 hour? There. Oops, wrong one. Let that go. Oh, 3 minutes left on this candle on the 15-minute. Look at this 1 hour candle. What about you, Zacho? So you did you get into any positions on this long? Almost there. Oh, I know, right, man? Like, here was my model and I didn't trust it. I didn't do anything with it. I took a long right here, a stab at a long at 9:30 or earlier right here, and wanted one level deeper. And here I didn't have SMT, so I didn't engage. So I don't anticipate I'll have a trade at all until like a later session, really. But yeah, I was thinking a similar thing. Once I saw what it did up in here, I wasn't gonna stick around for too long this morning. Yeah, very nice price run indeed. I mean, look at that. That's the kind of distribution we want to see. All of this, really. I'm quite surprised. Yeah, for sure. Like 930 is usually in alignment with the London trend. And it's on a rare occasion that 930 is the reversal. And but today, And I did it on paper, so that was the other thing. I was like, maybe it is just a bunch of things aligned that I thought it might have been in part, the distribution from London. I was expecting 930 to be a nice Judas up into the buy side up in here before running down. And that was kind of my expectation. And instead, it was only this much, right? That was the Judas. Because sometimes, like in the past, I've had plenty of luck playing the Judas both ways. But today it wasn't having it. But who cares? It was a demo account. But it just further proved that, like, what I was finding in the data is 930 is a continuation of London high or low. And even then, often it isn't all that often that that 10 a.m. is the reversal, the low of the day or the high of the day for New York. Yeah, the daily. Like for your levels, you're saying? I was seeing, for me, this 4-hour liquidity pool, 4-hour inversion, or excuse me, gap, 1-hour gap. All these levels were aligning with SMT, so that's where I was up for the long. And I guess it would have been, the daily would have been in this gap too. I wasn't anticipating it coming down into this rejection block. Yeah, you're saying 930 open, being low? Yeah, 930 is right here in relation to the midnight open. Up there. Yep. I know, right? Like, and that was the other thing too, is I tend to target midnight open, so I would long to midnight in this situation. Here, short to midnight. But I was just I call it wants one level deeper. You know, I mean, I don't know what to call it. If you're off, I mean, you're off sides in the moment, but it wanted one level deeper, and now it's doing the reversal. So, whatever. Part of the game, right? Take the 12 to 1230 high and low without including the 12 or 1230 candle and run standard deviations. Let me see if I understand what you're saying. Well, we're on a 5-minute chart, so we're saying 12. Take the 12 to 1230 high and low. $45, $40, $35, $30. Better on the 1 minute. All right, so there we go. I think we got $12 to $12.30, and running the standard deviations. Zoom out a little bit. All right, so did I get that right? For what you're saying? All right, let's put on, you're saying, I don't know, let's put on -8, see where that goes. We'll do -8. We'll do -10. We'll do -12. Turn off the background. Let's do -16. -20. Was it going to be -22? No, 23. That's a lot of standard deviations. We'll do 24. Look at that, 20, a little more than 23. Yeah. I don't know. This reminds me a lot of like what you were saying about the algorithm being based in a reference point. And that's very similar to the Goldbach ranges. So like even look at this, the Goldbach levels, because they're just fractal ranges. And look how it came to equilibrium to almost to the tick of this this particular Goldbach range. And similarly, like when we're looking at the Goldbach, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Look how price just, this is almost mind-boggling to me how it flows around the Goldbach ranges. And I haven't fully mastered them, so I don't really like talk tons about them. But I sit here and I look at the Goldbach ranges because similar to those standard deviations of the midnight opening range or Asia, I find Asia works really well too. Yeah, Goldbach claims that they've, okay, so there's this guy, Promukai, I don't know how to say that. He wrote a book about Goldbach levels. They're the power of 3 levels, which is basically based off of, ICT doesn't claim it has anything to do with his concepts, but they're using the power of 3, right, to predetermine levels on the chart in a, I can't even explain it really well, in a fractal nature. So like, but it's dealing ranges is what it is. So I'm sure you're familiar with, you know, premium and discount ranges. So that's all that these are is, so if we look at this high and this low, this is a dealing range. The extension is where the stop hunt tends to be. And then this is just a duplicate dealing range from this high to this low, right? And we just stack dealing ranges. And the idea is that everything operates within these dealing ranges. But ICT claims that Goldbach has nothing to do with his concepts, but the Goldbach people are adamant that it is the algorithm. ICT is just not willing to admit it. So that's my understanding of it. I read the Goldbach book, and I found it to be super interesting because, like, you can't really ignore how well price is following these levels. Like, there are guys who will just trade these levels. Like, look at the high. Is it to the tick? Nearly. So the all-time high was a few ticks away. So it's something I'm learning more about, and seeing how it works within my trading, like, is an additional confirmation. Because, like, I'm not an expert on it. So anyways, it's just super interesting what you were, the standard deviations remind me of the Goldbach levels. Because, like, you can just infinitely add standard deviations, and to some extent it's like, well, what standard deviation do we use today? The -4, the -2, or beyond. And I totally wasn't even paying attention. Are we still just consolidating? We are. Look at that. So okay, good. I looked over here. I wanted to check to make sure I was actually showing the screen about what I was rambling on about the Goldbach levels. So even here, let's just, this 30-second breaker, two -2 standard deviations right there. So consolidating. I'm guessing it's gonna pop down, pop up. But I think that's probably it for me today. I was curious to see if it came up into this level. But if it's just going to consolidate or do a bit of a rebalance before heading any higher, I think I'm going to shut it down, go get some breakfast, and chill out a little bit today. I got some, I want to look into some of the data that I was finding yesterday. But anyways, I appreciate y'all hanging out. I don't know how many are still here, but it was great to chat with you, Zachos, man. I hope to see you again, or maybe I'll catch one of yours at some point. And yeah, hope you all have a blessed Thursday, and maybe I'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.